Hi, class. How you guys doing? Welcome to Module 10. This is it, guys. We're done. We're wrapping it up and finishing up. So I thought it was a good class. I think that there's a lot of material here, guys. I think you guys did a good job retaining the information and applying information from prior weeks to uh, uh, current weeks as we move through the class. So I thought that was good. I think, in general, I think everyone learned a lot in this class. And so we're just going to wrap it up here in Module 10. So I just kind of want to do a quick summary of Module 10. Where are we at? What's going on here? This lecture is Studio Hierarchy and Collaboration. And I included this as the final lecture for the class because I think it's really important for all students to kind of take a look at their student career, where you're at in your student career, and where you see yourself in 10 years in order to ascertain that position that you see yourself in or that you wish to see yourself in 10 years or so. It's necessary to understand the basic dynamics of a design studio or an advertising agency. So what we have here are a couple of different configurations. We've got a bunch of different titles and kind of a level of hierarchy where they fall within a design studio. This isn't important, guys, this middle and lower hierarchy. It doesn't indicate that somebody that's involved in a position that's listed in this lower level hierarchy is less valuable to any specific organization than somebody that's listed in a middle or a higher level higher rung of hierarchy. So basically, this is just a way to separate these titles. It doesn't indicate that that these are true levels of hierarchy. So in other words, a logo designer isn't any higher than in an organization than a layout designer. Do you see what I'm saying? Quite often, these are lateral positions. But the point I wanted to make is to make yourself very familiar with every one of these terms and know exactly what it means, what the job entails, and what the overall contribution to the design studio or the ad agency is if you indeed hold one of these positions. I think it's right now is a good time to mention that many creative directors and art directors, unless they're a senior creative director or a senior art director, a lot of creative and art directors get promoted from design positions. And typically the attributes that are looked for are outstanding analytical and critical skills, as well as outstanding communication, both written and verbal communication. So if you possess those attributes, there's a good chance you'll get promoted to a creative director or an art director somewhere in your career. I think that the more you cultivate those skills, the earlier you will get promoted. I was promoted very, very early in my career because I had really concentrated on developing those analytical and critical skills while I was still in school, under the advice, believe it or not, of some of my instructors and my mentors who said, hey, you want to move up in a design studio, you have to cultivate your analytical and critical skills, and you have to be able to communicate with designers. That's why it's so important to keep your lines of communications open, whether, again, those are verbal or visual. So get yourself very familiar with those different positions in studios or agencies. Then we also have this little article on design studio hierarchy, as well as graphic design career hierarchy too. I've also included some graphic design salary studies here. So these are often not accurate. I mean, they're good for a baseline, just kind of get a baseline of what the market looks at in terms of compensation for graphic design positions. But this is by no means a comprehensive list, nor is it a completely thoroughly accurate. I mean, it's more of a baseline indicator than a comprehensive listing. So then we have freelance designer. I think I left that in there, that little lecture there, because I think it's important. I think at this point, one of the most important things I think that the students at your level in the program here and your this particular juncture in your student career, it's really important for you to look forward, look into the future 10 years from now and say, hey, where do I expect to see myself? And I think that's really a relevant exercise. And I think all designers should do this after every class. Stop, look at the class, look at where you're at in the program, and look at where you want to be in your career. A great way to do that is say, hey, what do I want to be doing in 10 years? And it's a great exercise. It really is. Of course, that successful predictions and writing about what your aspirations are in terms of your position in a design studio or agency in 10 years really is predicated on your knowledge of these different positions. So you definitely want to know these positions. What are they? What do they entail? And what do they contribute to the overall agency itself before you can really ascertain where you want to be in 10 years. I hope that makes sense. I think it's pretty straightforward. So then we have our final, I talk about collaboration here. This is important too. I think it's really, I think if there's one thing that's missing in the many online endeavors is the lack of collaboration required of students. And the reason for that, of course, is in the online environment, many students elect to take online classes because of conflicting schedules. So therefore, it's really difficult to nail down a collaborative assignment in an online class because everybody's on these kind of different schedules. You see what I'm saying? So collaboration is critical to design, and I think all designers in their career have are going to work collaboratively. I know I do constantly, even though I have my own studio. I'm a studio head. I have my own designers. I very, very much have a collaborative process here in the studio and outside my studio. So I collaborate with other studios. I collaborate with other designers. I often farm out work to other professional designers. So it's a collaborative process, and I think it's very, very important to understand that moving through the program and ultimately into the field of design. Attendance question this week. All right, guys, that's about what I have. I want to jump back to Module 9 so we can take a look at what to do at the end of Module 10, our final submission. So basically, we have our 3 versions of the final logo. So what you're going to do is you're going to, based on the feedback that you received from your roughs, as well as your mock-up examples, you're going to select your final logo, and you're going to render that out to completion. Then you're also, at this point, you're going to give us 3 different versions of the logo. The first is the primary logo. That's the main logo that you'll be using to represent your client. The second is that main logo shown in a one-color version. Now, again, refer to this week and last week's lecture materials, specifically Module 9 lecture materials, where we have all these wonderful examples and definitions of different types of logo. So you've got your primary full color logo. You got your second logo, which is a one color version, and then the third is a reversed logo. You're going to print the logo versions using a high-end digital printer. Kinko's has great machines, and mount them individually on 6x6 black presentation boards. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you're going to have your 3 versions of the final logo mounted on printed in color and mounted on 6x6 black presentation boards. So you'll have 3 black presentation boards with the logos mounted, different variations of the logos mounted and photographed. Watch craft. Remember, craft counts. Then you're going to submit a multi-page PDF showing the 3 versions of the logo on the first page. Photographs. So you would have the 3 versions logo, this logo, the reverse logo, and then the one color logo. Then you're going to, on the second page, you're going to have photographs of the mounted digital prints. And then on the third page, you're going to show 3 examples of logo placement using Photoshop mockups. Here's the example is, show an image of a delivery truck with a logo placed on the side. Or an image of outdoor signage featuring the logo, okay? So you could take an image of a building with a sign on it, and you could mock up your logo in that sign, one of the variations of your logo, okay? Hope that makes sense. We've done it before. We did it for the football helmet, so it should be perfectly self-explanatory. On the 4th page, include a written summary of your experience with this project. That is the project top to bottom, okay? So that means your experience with the entire Project 3, not just the final stage of Project 3. All right, guys, that's what I have. Welcome to the class. Welcome to week 10. Thanks for a great class. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, you know I'm right here. I've really enjoyed the class. You guys have been fantastic. The level of engagement has been very, very good, and I think in general, I think we have had a very positive atmosphere. All right, guys, thanks very much. Again, questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Thank you very much.